Coffee, coffee is not for me. It's a drink some people wake up with, that it makes them nervous is no myth. Slaves to a coffee cup can't give coffee up.
And that goes in the archive forever. Thank you for that.
Keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise.
Not much happened.
It doesn't always need to happen something. This is often a stream of consciousness piece.
Oh yes, look at me, I'm writing a Ulysses over here.
I haven't read that, but I've heard it's legendary.
Hey, watch where you're going, I'm writing over here.
Then it comes to be that the soothing light at the end of your tunnel
Okay.
was just a freight train coming your way.
Sure, okay, so let us rein in for a little bit.
Yes, because at the end of the chapter 5, it started raining. Again.
It's really symbolic.
I would like, before we begin this chapter, I would like to say one thing. In preparation of the madness that is going to ensue from this chapter, I decided, because of how stupid this entire thing is, and it's all a farce, I brought cider with me this week.
Yay.
And if I read something so stupid, so maddening, I'm going to take a swig or a sip of this cider as we go along.
So every time we hit a narrative snag, a thematic brick wall, a blathering nonsense, you're going to take a swig, huh?
Yep, of mixed fruit tropical cider.
That sounds delicious.
Devar,
Yes.
I hope you bought extra, because you are going to need it.
Okay, Icy Pal, I'm going to have to ask you to rescind from that voice of yours and just come back to us with your normal speaking voice.
I think we should probably begin,
Hold on. Introductions are in order. I am Madhog, thy master, etc., etc. This guy on my left, I think it's on my left, I don't know. Icy Pal. Hi,
Actually,
Icy Pal.
you are at the bottom.
No, you are the bottom. How dare you?
You are below me, everyone else is above us, so you are the bottom.
Oh, geographically, I get you. Okay,
no,
yes.
I think he means in the Discord listing for some reason.
What else would I have been meaning?
Anyway, here's our power bottom, the Varg.
Oh no, I'm the top in this list.
Oh no! The world is upside down. And then there's Matti.
Do we even need to be introduced considering this the sixth last chapter, and surely they would know by now if
there is always the possibility that some new viewer who doesn't know how to use YouTube might fumble upon this and ask themselves, who are these three clowns? I want to call the police on them. Well, now you know.
Who did you not count?
I said, who are these clowns?
You said three clowns.
You must have misheard me.
No, we heard 3. We listened to the recording. We heard 3.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a copy, guys.
So to new viewers, this is the last chapter of this tale. So if you want to start from the beginning in Madhog's channel, there's the...
Okay, so all of these chapters, all of these readings are put in their own playlists. This one belongs into the Tales spin-off playlist, and cards are abound in this video. You can click on them. There are going to be links at the end of the video as well, so you cannot miss it.
You have reached the end of this cassette. Turn it around and you don't need to have to rewind it.
Wow, gee, okay, boomer.
Oh my, that's a blast from the past.
Takes me back.
I'm sure it
Listening to Spice Girls on my Walkman.
Spice Girls?
Yes.
I'm going to judge you for that harshly.
I just listened to those Disney movie things from the C cassettes.
Oh, you mean those sing-along video cassettes? I hated them.
No, those audio. The movies are told in audio form.
You know, the ones which come with the C cassette and the booklet.
Hey,
along with
speaking of
listening.
which, remember those very small tapes that you put in small tape players? And you listen to Sergei Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf?
No.
Oh, that's a very specific experience to my generation. Okay, well, in general, remember small tapes, small music tapes.
Okay, so everyone, welcome to the final chapter of Il-Lumina-ted.
Which is a pun, a very stupid pun, because there is a name within this whole word that happens to be the name, in fact, of one of the characters in this story, and it's ideally the character that's the centerpiece of the narrative, but A, there isn't really a narrative for us to speak about. B, even if there were a narrative, she really isn't the center focus, is she?
Nope.
No, it's all about Void.
She's barely been in the story, honestly.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's how her absence is affecting to Void.
No.
That while she's not the character per se, her presence or the lack of thereof in his life can be felt everywhere, and it's kind of a thematic.
Well, it is about him being a father and being conflicted about whether this all fatherhood thing is for him, basically. So if you happen to fumble upon this video, and if you are one of the 12 people who actually watch this entire series that I am making, despite not being algorithm friendly, then you should go back to the beginning. And when I say the beginning, I don't mean just the beginning of this story. I don't mean the beginning of the story that comes before this, or before that, or before that. I mean the very, 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 very beginning of it all, which was my Tales saga, which has been completed, and it has its own playlist, and the reason why I'm plugging that is because, to this day, I believe, it's one of our best collective works. It was a lot of material that we went through, that we read, that we ref, that we pissed on, if you will, that we commented on, discussed, in more euphemistical terms. And
Long ago in a distant past,
that's
you, Madhog thy master of empty euphemisms, created unspeakable evil. But a group of internet personalities wielding their sharp tongues step forward to rip it apart.
That's basically the format, the shtick, the premise of this entire show, Dramatis
A
Lectio.
person's true nature can be seen from how they react to their failures.
Well, I took my writing failures, my terrible fanfictions from years past, and put them on display for my friends to take their wiener on and piss on it, metaphorically speaking.
By the way,
It's a comedy show, that's the point I'm trying to make.
yeah. By the way, is the title of this week is Enlightened?
No, it's a pun because Lumina.
I
Illuminated.
literally explained it not too long
Yeah,
ago, Matti. I explained it at the beginning of it. I explained it now. Matti,
Yeah, I was wondering without the pun angle.
my gosh, Matti. Are you there, Matti? Are you with us,
Yeah.
Matti? Are you too tired to do this, Matti?
No.
Okay. Yes,
Okay,
I can tell.
So I think we should probably begin this because now we're on chapter 6.
You know, it wasn't funny then, and it's still not funny now, how you keep hampering how much I don't use titles for my chapters. And while we're at it, this is still less confusing than Kingdom Hearts. Suddenly, I realized something. I hate Kingdom Hearts. Or at least
No,
I think I did.
Oh, then you think you like it instead? Okay.
Stop flip-flopping and make up your damn mind.
Hey, I'm a tsundere Madhog, remember? Baka?
You know, Dream Drop Distance kind of turned me around.
No! That's one of the worst ones! Even fans will agree. Ever since I've started this...
I took a sip because of that line.
Okay, well, we haven't even started yet, so that's...
Keep the counter, kids. Ding!
Okay, Icipal, you are in charge of the cider counter.
A sip count.
The cider counter sounds better, doesn't it?
Let's just continue on.
Ever since I've started this story, I had no idea where I was going with it.
No shit.
I could.
Anti-Sherlock.
I don't know why, but I think I could see that.
Ellipsis. Not that I cared about it. Ellipsis.
Oh, don't be thunder to your own story.
Baka! I just let my hand to write and my mind to wander.
Wait, are we talking to the void or the author?
This is that particular paragraph in the chapter that is actually glorified author's notes. Remember that.
I re-establish my question. Are we talking to the void or the author?
Author.
Does it even matter?
I mean,
No one has any idea.
that's not completely off that last sentence, because one of the writing advices is that write the first draft with your heart and the second draft with your mind, or something.
I tried that. I tried that with my first fantasy novel. Didn't go so well.
Well, that's why you have editors and rewrites. So many rewrites.
I know, that's what I'm in the process of doing, but I still can't figure it out. Anyway, let's continue.
I pretended to ignore all the inevitable fundamental themes that crossed my path. Oh, so I wrote a story without a goal, without a structure, without really anything in mind for it, with no themes and no theming, and here we are. I guess.
Yep, here we are, and I'm taking a sip.
This is a more efficient recap than I could have ever hoped. That's the story in a nutshell.
That's an interesting idea. Let's see where this story goes when I write it.
I mean, as far as my personal experience goes, that is the writing process. First, you write words, you let your hand guide you, and your mind wander over yonder, if you will. Then you have to edit the thing, the abhorrent, abysmal, gormless beast that you created into something that's palatable for a human to read. And I forgot to do the second part when I wrote my stories.
When I write, I've realized it's very useful to start by creating pretty much a bullet point list of, okay, basically this and this and this and this happen. This is important. This here, this character here. Pretty much just have the very rough version of what is going to happen in the story. And then, okay, I have the blocks here. Now, how do I tie them together?
That's a perfectly valid method to create your narrative. Not everybody likes that. Some people like it more freeform and then go back to make it make sense later or rewrite it in its entirety.
Yeah, basically.
So it's the Bleach way of doing it. Draw a cool thing and then write a story around it.
It has to be said that when I say writing, I mean conclusive stories that are meant to end not after 20 or 15 years.
Yeah, basically my writing process for old Energy Core of Power comic was, this is the thing that I want in this issue to happen. How it gets there is irrelevant.
Energy Core of Power and Tales Saga have all the time been a metaphor, a conflict between order and chaos in their writing processes. It all makes sense now. It was planned from the beginning. Or was it?
I see, pal.
Who knows? What?
We sort of came to that realization various sessions ago, come to think of it. And also, Matti, to add to your comment, insert Game of Thrones or Lost or Homestuck joke here. There. The subtle difference between reality and dream. Look at this David Lynch mofo over here, which it seems to always be relative. The gruesome possibility of our own non-existence. You know what? This is such blathering nonsense that I might as well read it with this voice. Which can be easily defied by the fact that we can naturally think or believe to think about such thing, which makes us living beings. Cognito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. The all re-evaluation of the creationist theories through the analysis of an imperfect God.
Jesus Christ, Jehovah's Witnesses aren't this aggressive about their beliefs.
Oh my goodness, no.
And then chaos itself. What makes our own world a whole and what makes us whole with our emotions, our inner chaos. All these themes did manage to bring me to one possible truth about existence itself, which, to my utter dismay, happened to be extremely philosophical and baffling.
That's,
Just because you use big words and put them in some sort of coherent form doesn't make you anything philosophical. It just makes you sound
baffling?
that too. And just make you sound like you are trying too hard to sound smart.
Welcome to fanfiction writing for 80% of everybody who ever wrote fanfiction.
Yep.
Now, before I eventually go and expose this theory, yes, in my 30 hours long video debunking this theory, which I still haven't decided whether to believe it or not, I want you to know that this is, by absolutely no means, the great answer. But only just one of the possible/impossible ones that could very well come around along with all the other various religions and philosophies already known by man. Therefore, one should be free to choose whether or not considering such theory as truthful. Did I ever tell you about that time in which I funded a cult, guys?
I'm just gonna take a drink here because that was just I draw the line at egomaniac who thinks his, brain and his views are like somehow more deeper and meaningful than anybody on the planet. So bottoms up.
Well, you see, I am by no means providing the great answer, just one of the many possible answers to go along with whatever other religion or philosophy you might have come up with. I'm just adding to the mix. I'm not that egomaniacal, am I?
For a moment I thought you were continuing reading the fic.
I was about to say, it sounded like he was just rewording what he just wrote.
If there is something that's much, much, much worse than pretentious egomania, is pretentious egomania masquerading as humility. It's what we in the business call humble bragging. And there is nothing worse than that. Darren Aronofsky is definitely on my black book, as of late. After all the paradoxes I've tried so desperately to ignore, yeah, sure, most of them referred to the effective existence of this world and its inhabitants as real beings and not illusions or dreams. I think I've finally found the perfect solution to finally get rid of all these doubts. Yes, at least for the sake of this story. My theory
you are going to think them out of existence because you thought everything into existence. Therefore, it is thought that they are now real. So you can make them unreal by thinking them to not exist.
I will not be taking questions at this moment. My theory is that and this is a good one, imaginary world did come out from someone else's dreams and thoughts, just like any other dimensions did. All the chaos energy spread all over the universe is, in reality, pure, concentrated thoughts, ready to be modeled into something solid and lively thanks to proper devices, god gems perhaps, which happen to be the very heart and soul of the world they would create out of those thoughts. In other words, each and every dimensions was a living being by its own, who had been created by someone else's mind, and that had other whole beings living inside of it. Those living beings would dream and think of their own. This is what Scientology really believes. And they would have a mind, a soul, and therefore the ability to feel. And their own inner chaos would somehow spread and recreate it itself as another dimension. Somehow. Some way.
Devar,
Yes.
I am questioning this new intro you have for your Call of Cthulhu campaign.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was actually going to say something along the lines of must resist, referencing controversial person that's recent that had a dumb theory similar to this.
Honestly, my only comment to this was going to be aliens, man. It has that energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does.
By the way, are you following all of this?
I'm just basically taking cider into my system right now.
Okay, Devar, how many sips are we right now?
Let's see. I got through like 5 sips so far.
Oh, already? Jeez!
You need to tell me about this thing so that I can keep the chart up.
So
I did mention them, but you seem to miss it.
You've mentioned 3 sips thus far.
I'm sure you are familiar with that one It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme with Charlie obsessive and paranoid over that board full of conspiracy theory strings and notes and all that. Yes, that is the energy that this paragraph conveys to me. Perhaps it sounds confusing, but it's very simple actually if you're not an idiot. Instead,
that's what we know about Kingdom Hearts, yes.
And emotions.
This is the story.
Well, actually, this feels a bit like a Kingdom Hearts logic, because our thoughts and emotions creates new worlds, just like a god would do. And in essence, we all are just like that. As long as we would have an imagination and the very precious ability to feel our feelings. God gems like the Master Emerald or the Precious Stone could very well be the devices. Or
Wait, I thought they were the same.
No, they were never the same.
They're different.
Yes, the Precious Stone operates in the dream world. The Master Emerald operates in the stupid world. Or the pulsing arts and brains, if you will, that basically keep a dimension alive. Since just like any living being, it needed a heart in order to alive. I love how I spent the last 5, 4, 10 sentences essentially circling around the same point over and over and over again without ever moving on.
Yeah.
It needed a heart in order to be alive, and a brain, and a pinky and the brain, pinky and the brain, in order to appreciate such gift, a heart and a brain, in order to keep his inner chaos balanced, to think, to feel, to be whole.
Oh no, the marker from Dead Space is asking us to make it whole again. We must leave.
Just like any living, thinking being, just like us.
Just like us. Just like us.
I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in joining your necromorph cult.
Are you sure you don't want to be a member?
Now.
So, in the end, What has been Boyd's role in the evolutionary process that led this land into what it is today? Simple, he says. He just accelerated the process by playing God. So what it would normally have taken thousands or even millions of years for a normal world to evolve into today's society, it only took 15 years, thanks to the Sidrian's mind and his influence over the precious stone. I believe this is me trying to find a common ground between the evolutionary theory and the creationist one.
Well, this was meant to be a re-evolution of the creationist theories through the analysis of an imperfect God.
Ah, he's paying attention, folks. You get an A.
Sorry, in Finland we use 4 to 10 system.
Okay, well, fair enough. You get a 10 then, you pedantic douche nozzle. Just, you can't be happy, ever.
I wish I could, but life is suffering.
Oh god, that reminds me of the time in my school years where basically not only did you get a number, but you also got a letter. So you could like get a 5B or something, and they would mean something different based on context of your work.
That sounds unnecessarily complicated.
It does, doesn't it? But then again, it's the British Empire.
Your handwriting sucked, but the story was good.
Yeah, pretty much.
To be fair, handwriting is important.
Yes. Remember the form. Always remember the form. Anyway,
Okay,
never begin a sentence with suddenly. By the way, I would like to point out that we have the usual amount of ellipses in this paragraph.
All the ellipses that you could ever want.
Basically, almost every sentence, instead of a period, it has ellipses to end it. And sometimes ellipses are even a substitution for a simple comma.
Maybe
Amazing.
it's a symbolicon out how the author stops to think what they're going to write next.
Clearly, I'm putting a lot of thought into this bollocks. As a result of his actions, most of the current inhabitants looked almost like other people from other dimensions. Maybe that's the reason of why existed. The reason of why existed dimensional counterparts. This could use a bit of restructuring, I'd say. Because of a once individual's specific memories. This one too. Then again, that topic it's not really important, and I shall gladly dismiss it. Oh,
I'm
wow.
gonna drink for that.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
Did you bring it up?
You brought it up only to say it's not important. What a waste of time.
I would have a drink on behalf of the dead grammar as well.
As
Okay.
you wish, Mr. Not Important.
That's 6. That's 6 sips now.
Yep, I've been keeping tact.
So, if this was the truth, if we are made of dreams, live inside dreams, and have dreams of our own that would create other dreams as well, you can tell Clonoa was having a really deep effect on me. And
Oh.
dreams are the very essence of chaos itself, and its endless possibilities.
So
I think for the sake of everyone, these possibilities need to be pruned. This dimension goes, and this dimension goes.
Okay, so apparently, if you dream, that means does the person that you dream of also dream?
Yes, it's called Dreamception.
Let's actually make a mind-bending question here. If you dream and you meet somebody, and they also dream of your world, who was the one that started the dream?
Cthulhu. That's the practical answer. Okay.
Dino Crisis was a nice game.
Then, ellipsis, who apostrophe S been the very first one to ever dream? Oh, there's the question there. And therefore, the original creator of everything. There actually were a creator or not. There actually were a creator or not question mark. Devara, would you mind taking a sip for that?
Yes, I was gonna sip that. I'll sip to that.
Are we just the fictional characters from a fictional multiverse that some derailed author created? Are we all characters in a fanfiction written by God?
Well, if we are, then oh boy, they write a boring fanfiction.
Or are we just
Actually-
spiraling Ricos of self-deprecating DNA?
Actually, come to think of it, if God was a terrible, self-centered, teenage angsty writer, the universe was a fanfiction, and us living in it were characters inside this horrible, angsty, violent, degenerate fanfiction, it would make too much sense.
I mean, if everything was created by an author, does that mean that the creations themselves can self-propagate and fill in the blanks that the author doesn't create? Or is it that the author has to create every single person on this wide world and write their backstories, personalities, and such?
We at Team Yume ask the real questions. And so, with these brand new doubts, which happen to be the same as the old ones, all this rather would-be rational reasoning inevitably goes wasted like the var.
What does he mean inevitably?
Inevitably goes wasted.
Yeah, what does he mean inevitably? It has been going.
It's going to continue going, I guess. And once again, I, simple human being, hi simple human being, I'm dead, have failed to understand things. And once again,
No.
here I am, humble bragging. I feel just fine with that, because I know that I don't know. Oh God, and I will go on with my life alongside this knowledge. And I will always question my beliefs, or would-be beliefs, just for reminding myself. What?
So Madhog, how has that been working out for you?
Well, I have forgotten that this fanfiction existed up until recently, so, well, I suppose. That I can think on my own, or at least I chose to believe I can. In other words, and this is the focal point, the arrival point, the end goal, if you will, the finish line of all this reasoning. Who cares? Who cares?
Congratulations!
Dun 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 dun. Who cares?
Congratulations, it's a new record.
It's a new Academy record. How are we with the sips, the bar?
I'm just above the halfway point of this bottle.
Wow. Okay. This paragraph isn't even over yet. Oh, so now we have a dialogue exchange, as it was the style at the time.
Sometimes someone you know.
Sometimes the author just decides to start talking with one of the characters in the story for no real reason. And I don't know who's this guy. Or girl.
I know, because I read ahead.
Oh, of course. Who else could it possibly freaking be? So, you've just realized something you already knew. Not to know. Congratulations.
He stopped stealing my lines.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Matti, are you going to congratulate me?
Onneksi olkoon.
Oh, thank you. Fang, why am I not surprised to see you now? Maybe because I'm part of you. Or maybe it's the other way around. Or maybe we are both deluding ourselves somehow. Or maybe we had too much to drink, right, Devar?
Oh no, I could probably go for another 2 bottles.
But if Fang isn't an original character, is he really part of you?
Haven't you ever had an imaginary friend that was based off a TV character or something?
Yes.
No.
Well, well, there you go. Will you come to the point? Will you come all over the point? Just spread it. And everybody came. Oh, God.
And I mean, if it was Silver and not Fang, this would be a very different story.
The Gene Spreader!
The return of the Gene Spreader.
It's the worst Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles porn spoof, I have to say. Didn't you have a story to write? Because it seems to me that all you've done so far was blabbering over hopeless philosophical / pseudo-theological concepts. Don't call me out like that, jeez.
You know, it's very scary when Fang is the voice of reason.
I think I might be having an episode here. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. I wanted to find a reason. So give me reason. Give me reason.
I can give you reason, but I can give you raisins.
Give me raisins. If not for existence itself, which is impossible, at least for justify this story's this story's life. Boy, howdy. Okay. I'll answer this sentence in the same way you used to answer your own questions. Who cares? Who cares about a reason? I'm willing to believe, and therefore I could be wrong, that your readers are more interested in exploiting the characters' personal tragedies instead of the rationality of the story itself. You know what? He would be right about that. So, here's my question. Will you just finish this story for its own good?
Yes, get the shotgun, please.
Yes, finish it! Finish it! Why do you always have to be the master of life kind of guy? I am still not clear what this master of life business is all about. I guess I'm thinking about old Jedi masters. Maybe. Life guru? Life coach?
Yeah.
Life consultant? Life accountant? I don't know. Pick one. Perhaps I am. Perhaps I'm not. Guess what? I still have to decide it.
Because I am Fang, the life connoisseur.
The life connoisseur. That's a good one. I like it. Whatever. Here's the last chapter. Enjoy. And now the chapter actually begins. Thank you! After all that preamble. Ooh, boy.
You know, just because you point out that your story is pseudo-theological blabbering doesn't hide the fact that your story is pseudo-theological blabbering.
I know. It's called Michael Bay logic.
It's called psychology of some description.
It's called writing fanfiction. It all amounts to the fact that some guy, when he was younger, wrote a bad fanfiction and couldn't stop riding off the smell of his own farts.
Some of us like to write fanfictions thinking that we're deeper than we actually are, and some others, like myself, just want to basically just write romance for some reason.
I mean, there's nothing wrong about self-deprecating per se, but...
Well, this was self-aggrandizing, if nothing else.
Text break here, so...
Devar?
Yes.
Your turn.
It's Lumina and Void, by the way.
No, it's Void and Precious Stone.
Yes, Void is
Oh.
talking to the Precious Stone. The Precious Stone
right.
has a voice.
Who is the voice of the Precious Stone again?
I
Has it
don't
talked
know.
before? I don't think it has talked before.
No, it didn't. We had the character of Il-Lumina, I think, which was the guardian of the Precious Stone.
But that is different character from the Precious Stone itself.
I think the Precious Stone is a god gem, as we established, and we have never heard it talk. So, Matti, would you like to voice this gem?
Okay.
Do your best Ukko Ylijumala voice.
Are you sure of that?
Void nodded.
Very well. It's your decision, and quite frankly, it's what you deserve for the magnificent job you've done as my guardian. I thank you for that.
Are
You
you
couldn't-
sure about that?
You couldn't sound more sarcastic, even if you tried.
You sure about that?
I mean, technically speaking, he has done a good job since no one has been gotten to the Precious Stone to try to steal it or break it.
Well, I guess he's better than Knuckles at this whole I must guard this oversized gem for the rest of my life duty.
Stop killing people with faint praise, Madhog.
I remember when Danton wrote a fan fiction that is now lost to time, and he had one gag where somebody basically said to Knuckles, "You like the Master Emerald so much, why don't you give it a kiss every night, good night?" And then he replies with, "What's wrong with that?"
Well, that's funny, first of all. Second of all, I am glad to learn that Danton too wrote Sonic fanfictions.
he made only one fan fiction, and
And he never created anything again.
he did try to create a sequel, but then it got lost because of computer broke down and lost the files to the sequel. So,
Oh,
and sadly, due to the position of where the fan fiction was posted, it is now completely lost to time because it was on one of those GeoCities Sonic forum sites.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago.
Yep.
I thank you for Lumina. Having sex with you was the best decision of my life.
Don't remind me.
Precious. When did Void become Dave from Satina? That's great. Thank you for Lumina, Precious Stone.
Void countered. The god gem glowed in seemingly pleasure. Oh no!
Oh, no, he's remembering all those times Lumina rode him.
Oh my gosh, this is the best. This is so good. I love it. I love when our jokes come together with the aid of the text.
I didn't do anything, Void. I just gave you a physical
You did all the work, Void.
Your soulmate, on the other hand.
Are you kidding me? Are you trying to tell me that technically, the Precious Stone is the mother/father, and Void is somehow also has DNA involved, but now Blaze also has DNA involved with Lumina? So that means
Honestly-
there's a freeway DNA thing going on here?
Honestly, what does this tell to me is that the gem was the bottom of the relationship.
Okay, I think I've got it. Void is the dad, Blaze is the mom,
I'm drinking!
and Precious Stone was the artificial womb.
I guess if you want to be literal about it, then yes.
So,
But-
wait. Does Void need Precious Stone to create something, or what?
Okay, so as we made it abundantly clear
No one
several
cares.
times, also that, but most importantly to the context at hand, the reason why Void was able to give mental birth to an entire universe was because he had the Precious Stone to enable him to do that.
Okay.
The Precious Stone's power essentially is a conduit for someone's own dreams to turn into a reality.
So yeah, the precious stone basically birthed the entire universe. Got it.
Yes, that's one way of putting it.
It's going like push, precious stone, push.
Okay,
I can see the nebula.
We only have 7 billion more children to.
You will be nothing without me.
My God, I can see the planet. Okay, Void just frowned. That was still a painful argument for him.
A bit of kinky play, I see. I have this mental image in my head of the precious stone wearing dominatrix garb somehow, whipping the boy.
Oh no, now I have it too. Ew.
The big inanimated object wearing the dom hat, the tight garments, and it's just whipping even though it has no hands. It's hysterical. The boots.
That's right, Void. Think of what you want for Daddy.
Oh
what do you dream?
The sad part is that I have that image too, and all I can think of it is meh.
If anyone had an erection, that's definitely God.
I think it's inherently funny as a mental image.
Yeah, it's more funny than it is anything else. But then again, if you're into inanimate objects as a kink, then yeah.
Well, blow-up dolls are inanimate objects, so who am I to kink shame?
Anime figures too.
Anime pillow.
That is why cargo shipping is a thing.
When you get down to it, worshipping idols is basically simping for some anime statuine.
I mean, that makes sense considering a woman married the Eiffel Tower.
I hope they're happy together. Can you imagine the honeymoon with the Eiffel Tower?
I guess the woman will have to be climbing all over him.
Oh man, when did this become?
Okay, let me continue. As if on cue, a very familiar pain started its pulsing dance on Void's chest. Oh, it's getting to that point, huh?
It was that day that Void's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And he died. If it wasn't for the reassuring and powerful presence of the giant purple stone, he wouldn't even be able to breathe.
No, to breath, apparently.
I now read this line just because I'm feeling a bit, just kind of a little tiny bit tipsy.
Oh no.
It kind of comes off as like one of those, romance saucy female books they would read, where they don't say the name of the genitalia, they just give it fancy dialogue. She gripped his purple.
You mean like a Chuck Tingle book?
You mean like
alcohol
fiction?
turns you horny?
Not horny, no. Just
It just opens the floodgates.
just excitable giddiness, I would say.
Devar, what's the count?
I don't know. I lost count.
Oh no!
According to my count, it's 8.
Let's
Okay.
go with that.
Okay, let's just go with that. I'm still not even close to finishing this thing yet. Okay. The precious stone have done so much for him. It has been a counselor and a friend. Most of all, it was thanks to its spontaneous doing that his own daughter was alive. A thing we'll always be grateful for.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I wish I saw the counselor part.
The counselor part raises so many questions.
Still, there's this knowledge, this gruesome revelation about the connection between his sleeping princess and Lumina. Something he'd already even knew before the stone itself told him about it. Over a decade ago.
And how come it's a gruesome revelation if you already knew about it? Everyone knew about it from the very beginning as Lumina appeared.
Yes, we all know how she came to be.
I just proceeded to pour a little bit of alcohol down my corpus, as my significant other would call it.
Corpus sounds sexy.
Yeah, that's a silly way of put it, because you see, I have a I don't actually like to touch my lips to the tip of the bottle. I basically just hover it over where I have my open mouth and just pour it in.
Living on the edge way of drinking. I do that as well. Actually,
Just drink from a glass.
like a loser.
I mean, I could if I wanted to
Like,
wash afterwards.
Like a sophisticated as hell guy.
I do have a chalice for such occasions, but
Oh, he has a chalice! Look at this posh British guy with a chalice. Look at me.
That snob. He has a chalice.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
I'm just going to continue reading, guys.
Okay, a chalice.
Something so disfiguring that he had forced himself not to believe in it. For his own sake. And for the sake of his child.
What?
Along with the aching pain in his torso. Another emotion made its physical way in the Cedrian's body language.
Okay, well, Discord really did not like you when you said fear, apparently. I guess it's afraid. And now it cut off the F in fear, so all I heard was ear.
Fear?
Okay, now it's perfect, but this was a pretty funny exchange. I will keep it all in.
He feared that one day his daughter would eventually find out the truth about her mother and herself.
Which truth is that? That the precious stone was the artificial womb?
No, it is something that we are yet to find out, apparently.
And he knew that such a horrifying knowledge would very well destroy her, kill her from the inside. And worst of all, she would lose her light and become just like him. A lifeless void, consumed by grief and sorrow.
Okay, so despite how silly all of this sounds, because it does sound very silly, to put it mildly, the idea here at play is that Void doesn't want the same trauma that affected him and made him what he is today to ruin his daughter's life the same way his life was ruined.
Is she going to be raised by an evil megalomaniac with dreams of global conquest?
No, but he is afraid, obviously, to transmit to her the same issues that he has onto her. Which is a legitimate fear that some parents do have when they had an abusive life themselves, and they are aware that they had an abusive life, and they try to do better for their children.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, the defining argument of this entire enterprise is that if this were to be in the hands of a capable writer who knew what he was talking about, this could have been decent.
He won't allow that to happen. He would carry such sufferance all by himself, and all because he loved his daughter, because in the end, she's been the only thing that kept his soul intact, that kept him alive, that kept his internal abyss illuminated.
Oh, title drop!
Title drop your mics!
I mean, I could drop my £100 mic, but
It's all for her well-being. She'll be sad about leaving this place and her mother, but on the brighter side,
okay.
she'll get to meet her grandparents. Oh, that's the brighter side, you say.
Are you sure
Oh,
about that, Void?
Are you sure about that, Void?
You mean grandparent? Her grandma is dead.
Oh, no. She came back to life. Don't you remember that Cosmo was reunited with Tails at the
No.
end of Tails? You don't remember? Well,
No.
they did.
Void.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Void.
they did. Icy Pal, they did. Don't you remember?
And Tespio did.
Cosmo and Tails did.
Void added, finally showing a hint of happiness. Almost eagerness. This was a moment he's been dreaming for so long. His homecoming. The idea of finally re-embracing his two-tailed father and the mother he never truly knew. The idea of finally living all together as a real family was another thing that definitely raised the Void's desire to be alive. Away from this dimension. Away from his former fiery queen. Away from the truth. Determination was showed on the Cedrian's black eyes. He would die instead of letting his daughter know that she wasn't just born from her mother's dreams. He would die instead of letting her know that she was the reincarnated soul of his mother.
He would
die instead of letting her know that her mother did not just lack energy, that she was not just asleep in her frozen coffin, that Blaze the cat, Void's only love, was dead. Dead.
Come on, you killed the best character.
Okay. So,
This cat is dead. She breathes no more.
okay. So, according to this fanfiction so far, Lumina exists because Blaze's own soul was reincarnated into this new baby that was technically made up. So that means that Blaze is a corpse inside a crystallized tomb, which resides, appropriately enough, in a graveyard. A graveyard that was not meant to host actual corpses. So the symbolism is a bit wonky there, but still, that's what Lumina is.
Well, the thing is about her corpse being in the graveyard, and the graveyard is just, emotions and fleeting ideas and such. That means it's like, we're saying that Blaze's death is a fleeting idea.
Well, funny you should say that, Devar, because before we started recording this session, I remembered how this story ends.
So, Void loved Blaze so much that he wanted to raise her like she was his own child. What?
You understand why this sounds a bit creepy? This has terrible implications, right? Why he went to therapy, you might say. The therapist was his father, which then became his son, and that foreshadowed the fact that his lover then became his daughter, that he raised like a daughter.
Did it also say his mother is also involved in all this too? Because, Cosmo...
If your loved ones die, recycle.
Okay, so I think this is a typo, actually. A bit of a typo with the pronoun. The use of a pronoun here when he says the reincarnated soul of his mother, he meant to say her mother, because it wouldn't make sense due to the fact that he mentioned she was going to meet her grandparents earlier on.
That's why I was a bit confused. So
this
anyway,
is clearly a grammatical mistake. Drinking time, yes, this deserves a bit of a sip. This is not the way I thought the story was going. I thought the story was going towards a particular direction, but no, it's a very different direction. I thought that in order for Void to leave this world, with Blaze, he was going to have to sacrifice Lumina, or something like that. He was going to have to make a choice to stay here forever, or to leave. He was going to be forced to choose between his daughter and his princess, basically. But no, apparently the choice was already made for him all these years ago. So all that was left really was for him to spend the last 15 or so years grieving about it before finally trying to moving on. And also lie to his child.
Okay, I'm just going to continue on with this notion. After all this time, he finally managed to admit it. She was dead. And there was no comeback. Unless, of course, her soul wouldn't have returned into her body.
Oh.
But now that very soul was his oblivious daughter's own. Suddenly, he felt immensely guilty towards her, for lying at her, telling her that Mommy was just sleeping. In a way, she was.
No, she isn't. She's dead.
Well, what is death if not a very, very, very long nap that doesn't end?
And for even remotely considering that horrible option, one of the many things he will never forgive himself for. Why did he have to know all of this in the first place? Why couldn't he remain oblivious about such knowledge? Why did he have to ask the precious stone about Lumina's true origins those many years ago? Why did he have to have all those damn doubts?
I don't know. I don't know. Buyer's regret?
Is it? I think he's very, happy with the final product.
This guy is spineless and
Messed up.
can't just let things go.
Profoundly unlikable, lacking in pathos.
Okay, Matti.
Void?
The stone's voice suddenly interrupted her soon-to-be former guardian's derailing train of thoughts. The teenage-looking plant boy slowly turned his head over his guest. His facial features were unreadable.
You have someone to care about. Therefore leave out all the rest and go on with your life. For God's sake. Do it for yourself and for the whom you love.
For God's sakes, move on with your life and get yourself your own damn place.
I will beat the hell out of you if you don't move on from your trauma. Jeez, man. You're bumming out this entire universe, man.
Like, have you forgotten that everything here was created from your thoughts and feelings? Like, every time you go into these deep, philosophical and edgy, dark, sad internal monologues, it just echoes in here. Really, really depressing, and I can't just hear anymore after the first few years.
Please give me a reason not to show you the back of my hand.
It's said. It said all of that. All of that.
Yes, totally said all of that. Totally not whom you love. Okay. Void put on a weak smile.
I will. Thank you, darling. I have a precious stone.
Oh my god, it's like the Void and the Precious Stone are trying to out-sock each other.
Please, call me with my real name. The name I chose for myself.
It replied. Void's smile went broader.
Void's smile went abroad. I guess he traveled to another universe.
I mean, he's going to.
Thank you, Illumina. Goodbye.
He added, and then he just left.
Oh, really? Was it really that easy? Doesn't he have a ton more baggages to pack? Literal baggages and also the metaphorical ones? Doesn't he have something more to add? Some more meandering or waffling and ranting? No, he just left, I guess. The Precious Stone is the universe's landlord, and she is evicting Void from the palace.
Is this like a reality TV show where basically, everyone plays God and then everyone voted Void off the show?
Yes, and for some reason, maybe he was hot, I don't know, he was one of the final ones to leave.
As a farewell gift, Void knew that Illumina would open a space-temporal portal that would allow both Void and Lumina to arrive to their destination without sustaining fatal damages.
Well, it's a good thing you checked that out before using it.
Don't you mean injuries?
Not fatal damages. It sounds more radical, I suppose.
All he had to do now was to retrieve his daughter and prepare the both of them for their imminent departure.
Oh, that sounds like they're going to die.
When he told Lumina about his intentions, she first reacted with anger and denial. How could anyone possibly blame her for that? She would have to leave everything behind. Her friends, her home, her memories.
You know?
Whoa, I don't think you have to actually mind wipe her to get her to go along with your plan, Void.
No. It's meant memories in a more romantic sense. As in, these were my formative years, all my precious memories of this place, which I have to leave behind. It's not literally the memories. Not everything has to be taken at face value.
I mean, if we would have seen what kind of some of her friends and what those memories contained, I mean, this scene could have been more impactful.
Yes, I agree with that in principle, but here's the deal, Matti. Would you really have wanted to see me attempt to write a teenage girl character properly?
I mean, you tried many times with Amy.
Yes, and you saw the results. At least I am not as bad as the guy who wrote Wonder Egg Priority, but still, it could have been so much worse.
And it was these Void's actions that led to Lumina losing her light and become just like him, a lifeless Void, consumed by grief and sorrow.
I like to think that basically when she thinks about her memories and we see, like a fade to her memories, all we see is, I really don't like religious education class. Over and over again.
Yes, that's her personality, isn't it? I don't like religion at school.
Just because my dad is the god doesn't mean I like people talking about him.
Davar, what is the count for the cider? We lost the count.
I haven't drank anything for a while since I last mentioned, because
The count is 10.
Good.
Okay. A pain that Void could understand very well, but it was necessary, nonetheless. She would overcome it eventually. Void arrived in Imaginary World's graveyard, the place where all dreams and feelings from other worlds used to rest. Or better, Void's personal interpretation of this concept through a metaphorical device.
Which is it? You cannot. That's not how a metaphor works. That's not how a metaphor works.
You do not spill out what its purpose is like that. Narratively speaking, I'm drinking for that. Fuck you.
But you see, this is their rebel way of writing. When you don't condone yourself to the normal rules of writing procedure.
I see, pal.
The what way of writing?
The rebel writing way.
I thought you were mentioning a specific name.
Okay. I'm going to have to bitch slap some people, I see.
It's almost at the end of the paragraph. Come on,
Oh no,
can do
alcohol turns him violent.
It's not really. I'm just being silly with you guys.
I mean, he would need a really long arm to bitch slap Madhog.
I mean, have you seen Devar? He's very lanky, you see. He's a lanky fellow.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's stretchy. Did you check that out when you visited him?
That's an idea for next time.
Well, I remember he touched my shoulder and he cringed.
I am not used to have physical contact with people so bony, if you know what I'm saying.
I just picturing a beat slaps contest with you two.
On the bright side, if cannibalism ever becomes a viable option to survival, Devar will be the one who gets eaten last.
I'm pretty sure he's going to feel offended that he's eaten last. Come on, guys, I'm not that bad, am I?
It's not that he tastes bad, it's that there is nothing to eat on him.
Yes, it's a bit... it lacks nutrients, to put it mildly.
Only thing you can get out of him is a bone soup.
On the other hand, I might be the first one who gets eaten.
Oh. It was usually at this hour on the third day of the month. I couldn't get more specific about it, sorry.
Why are you like this? Why are you like this? That is my question. Why do you feel the need to pad out the sentence with so much blathering nonsense. I like this phrase now.
That
Madhog, why do you need to blot out it with this blathering nonsense?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking myself.
That Lumina used to visit her mother's icy gravestone, which still happened to lie there, right in the center of the guard.
Centre of the guard.
It's how you spell center.
It is.
But it's funny say centre of the guard.
Yes, that lie.
I guess it is funny, but anyway, so the reason why you see guard ... is because the word is getting cut in half. You are not supposed to use ellipses to do that. You're supposed to use hyphens. Hyphens!
There is Isengard.
Hyphen guard! In the center of the guard. No!
Cetrians, the Cetrians. We're taking the Cetrians to Isengard.
We're taking the Cetrians to Isengard. Okay.
End,
What
I said.
did you say?
Yeah. No!
The coffin was
No!
melted.
Da-da-dum!
There she was, standing tall in front of him, blank expression, his blazing princess, his fiery queen, alive.
Here we go.
With a dead corpse in her arms.
Whose corpse?
Lumina's. It happened at last.
I think Discord muted him.
Discord muted him because they didn't like how wimpy his no sounded.
Okay, how many O's there are?
A lot. And I don't care enough to start counting them.
I counted 40
I'm finished.
ends.
I'm finished.
Oh.
Okay, guys, are you ready for the ending? The real ending to this fanfiction? Because I've been waiting for this. Change of paragraph. And suddenly, Void woke up! He has had that nightmare again.
So wait, this whole fic was a dream?
Is it really a twist if it was established that it was a dream world? Is my question. Okay, Matti, you have to read this.
Just so you know, I'm gonna get a sip out of this because dream ending.
It's literally a dream world, so it has to have a dream ending.
And suddenly Void woke up. He has had that nightmare again.
But then, nightmare became reality.
Daddy, are you alright? Ask a very concerned young lilac plant.
is apparently Southern, according to the accent you used.
Wait,
Keep reading, Matti, keep reading.
Void was sweating profusely, but managed to answer anyway.
Void was sweating profusely.
Oh, okay.
Fancy way of saying sweating and profusely, I must say.
Void.
Dog, it's your line.
Oh, right. I was waiting for Matti to finish the sentence because he didn't.
But managed to answer anyway.
Okay. Now I can continue. Yes, I'm fine. Jesus, Lord of Almighty. I had that dream again. You know, the one in which I relive a distorted version of your birth and all the rest until you die in your mother's arms. My chaos, what's wrong with me? I don't know.
Do you
tell
want
me.
at least in chronological or alphabetical order?
He said, putting his head in his deformed hands. Wait, is Lumina supposed to be a child or a teenager?
Keep on reading, Matti.
Okay. Lumina's gaze was full on concern. What did Dr. Prower said? What did Dr. Prower said?
Yes.
Dr. Prower is so stupid. I'm going to change therapist.
He still couldn't quite think of him as a doctor. How could you blame him?
He said I was just stressed because of all the preparations for our departure.
And, in a way, it was true. Both Void and Lumina knew that once they would cross the portal, Il-Lumina would open for them. There was no comeback. Forever.
Forever!
Er,
I have to say, Discord really hates you tonight, Icipal.
what else is new?
The female Cedrion now looked genuinely sad. Her father just embraced her tightly and lovingly. That alone managed to reassure her and she hugged him back. Okay, the previous scene was just a dream. Okay, now I get it.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Let's keep going and see what happens.
Today, as far as time had a meaning, of course,
Oh, shit.
I want that on a t-shirt now.
was the big day. The day in which they would leave the not-so-imaginary world of imaginary world where the dimension Void and Blades originally came from. Right now, the portal was already open. There they stood, in front of it. Void's family. All three of them?
All three of them? Ooh, what's happening here? I don't know.
Of course it's three of them. Void, Lumina, and Illumina.
The former ruler of this dimension fixed his gaze at the frightened, yet determined form of his daughter, who quickly smiled back at him. And then his gaze fixed itself towards the other one.
The other one.
Excuse me.
That was well done, Matti.
The other one. I guess there is another one. I don't care.
His blazing princess, his fiery queen, the love of his life,
Precious
He
stone!
raised him, held the form of Blaze the cat,
Hey, look, it's Blaze the cat without all the murder.
who is suddenly alive again, huh?
Uh-huh.
I'm sure this fic will explain it soon, in a very
sure?
understandable and convenient manner.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Who cares?
She too smiled at him, a loving, heart-melting smile. She too,
Oh,
just
so
like
that's
Void.
how Void did not die when his heart grew 3 sizes. And he had that pain in his chest.
She too, just like Void, hadn't aged a single day since her liberation from that coffin 15 years ago. Right
Wait,
before
so pretty much everything since after Lumina's creation was a dream.
Yes!
It was all a lie.
It was a dream within a dream that had several dreams in it.
Madhog,
Yes.
you played this exact same card in the previous Void spin-off.
Then why are you surprised? You should have seen it coming, and
I
yet
thought-
you didn't.
I don't know, sip, just so you know.
Because for some foolish, unexplainable reason, I thought you were better than this.
Never meet your heroes.
Weren't you the former fan?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right before they had Lumina, which name has been voluntarily intended as an homage towards Blaze's savior.
Wait, so Illumina was before Lumina, not the other way
Yes.
around.
Of course it was before. She was present in the previous story.
It has been
Oh,
one of...
So it was the Guardian, not the Stone.
Now she was the stone.
Wait, but why did you say she was the Guardian of the Stone?
Clearly I misremembered. Icipal, how have you not realized by this point that this is not a reliable narrator?
This is why Kingdom Hearts is still easier to follow.
If you say so.
Se oli yksi Illuminan lahjoista, kun ne herätti... Okei.
I thought I drank so much that that I suddenly was hearing Mati speak a different language altogether.
No, that wasn't the alcohol's work. That really happened.
It has been one of Illumina's gifts to revive the beautiful feline from her slumber with a brand new life force. Apparently her powers were that great.
Ooh.
Ooh, that sounds sarcastic.
Together as god and goddess of this realm, both Void and Blaze guarded the precious stone and created everything from pure raw thoughts thanks to it. And now that this realm evolved in its own pace, they were needed no more. Therefore, they could live for good.
Good. And good riddance, I say.
They could leave their own children to look for themselves, to believe in whatever they wanted to believe, to live
Even Scientology.
Even Scientology.
To live the way they wanted to live, and to eventually fight for that right.
Are you ready to rumble?
Void asked to both the girls. Mother and daughter nodded in unison.
Well then, let's get going. I love how Void ends up with everything he ever wanted. Princess, a daughter, the circumstances that led us to Blaze and Void to be together again. Having a daughter, notwithstanding, this is a happy ending for him, I suppose. Yeah, it feels so earned, doesn't it?
Well, I've heard of sudden tragic endings, but not sudden happy endings.
Well, there's a first time for everything, I suppose.
I guess we now see why they are not used.
And with that said, he grabbed the other two's respective hands and jumped into the portal, which immediately sealed itself the moment after.
Well, you forgot a sentence there.
I can't help but imagine now Void and Blaze and Lumina basically like skipping towards the portal, like one big happy family, yeah, like yay, we're skipping towards the portal. Look at us, we're so nice and happy. It's all picturesque and perfect.
This is the way to happy end, happy end, happy end.
It has been said, after the rain comes the sun. After the dark of the night comes the light of the day.
In the dark of the night, da 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 da.
People will find you.
Yes, that's what I was trying to reference, but I didn't remember the words.
And in Void's case, the dark emptiness of his soul, although not being totally erased, because no one could possibly live without it, was now filled with other more pleasant and warmer emotions. It was dark no more. It was now, say it with me,
Illuminated! Okay, there's more. There is this one final paragraph, and I'm sure it will explain everything, guys.
I see, pal.
And so, this whole story has been nothing more than a dream, it seems. A real illusion, as far as the distinction between reality and hoax could still be pointed out.
Okay, so this was literally a dream, or maybe it wasn't. But it probably was, don't think too hard about it.
I've got you there, didn't I?
Oh my god! There it is! That's what I was waiting to see!
After all the paradoxes and existential doubts I brought to your attention, I managed to distract you. Distract you from what would have possibly been a rather obvious finale, didn't I?
So not only do I slap you across the face with it was all just a dream ending in a story that was literally about a dream world, but then I brag about it.
That's right, readers. I just wasted your time.
I'm
proud
drinking.
of it.
I'm drinking to this. You fucking bastard! You.
Amen, Devar. Amen.
Alcohol makes Devar quite a potty mouth.
And you know what? The funny part in all of this story is the fact that I dreamt it before having it written.
What?
So
I
wait,
dreamt about someone dreaming, and
What?
I dreamt about myself dreaming. This
What?
story, as well as any other I've ever written, comes out from my inner chaos.
Ah!
And what I did, I tried to rationally describe it, to find a sense in it, to be my own therapist.
Icy pal. I know you're trying to imitate my crazy voice, but could you not? Could you read normally, please?
I'm glad I failed. There are things that we are not bound to know, even our own selves. And it's better that way, for our own sake, and for our own very special ability. The ability to feel and to imagine. Because, as I believe, as much as believing can be taken into account,
It's not written here!
and you couldn't be able to tell the difference.
I know, that's the best part.
If we would know everything about anything, what could we possibly do then? What would happen to the beautiful mystery that our dreams used to be? Well, according to certain people who must not be named, it's about fucking our moms.
Thanks, Freud.
He said it.
Yes.
In the end, chaos is necessary in our life. Or at least, this is what I believe or choose to believe, and I could be wrong. And with that said, I politely greet you, O patient readers. See you in chaos, which could very well be someone else's dream. The end.
so if I understood this correctly, the sole reason you wrote this week is because you had a freaky dream and you tried to understand it by writing it all down.
That's just me being pretentious. Do not mind that. This is my very, very pretentious way of saying I have this idea in mind that I want to explore, so I'm going to let my hand drive me and my mind wander.
I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. Yet I know it's true, that visions are seldom all they see. I know what you'll do. Are you singing the Finnish version?
Yes.
That's interesting. Now, if you excuse me, I'm just gonna just drink the rest of this, because what else am I gonna do with the rest of this?
I have to say, this has been quite an experience. Quite an experience indeed. An exercise in fruitless faffing, in blathering nonsense, in nothing and everything at the same time, in pretentiousness, in humble bragging. An author at the height of its own madness that decides he's not done writing and he wants to continue writing to make people think about what it's like to write. And the end result is a bit offensive, I think it's fair to say. A bit of a armed assault to your own intelligence, if you will.
Wait, so since everything pretty much was a dream, does that mean that the anti-freedom fighters fighting Eggman Nega was a dream as well and it didn't really happen? We do not have this seed for an actually interesting and funny story here, the only good part of this entire spin-off?
Well, according to what was written here, to the text, everything could have been just a dream, and literally was a dream, but it could also have been real, even if it was born from a dream. And really, the distinction between reality and hoax is, who cares? So really, what you should be taking away from this is that everything can be canonical if you choose to believe it is. So if you choose to believe that Antisonic, Miles, and Knuckles would smoke Miles's self-made bong, then that is real and nobody can take that away from you.
So by that logic, you're saying that, if I imagine that this story was not a waste of time, it won't have been a waste of time in reading it.
Exactly! He gets it, folks!
So it's like the literary version of placebo effect.
I suppose that's one way of putting it. Again, in different hands, this might have been clever, I suppose. It is supposed to be some sort of deep philosophical pondering about the very nature of fiction and our emotional and psychological connection to it, to the fictional world and characters, what they mean to us. Fiction is someone else's own dream, made manifest through the writing, and that dream takes a life of its own when it leaves the author, or rather, when the author leaves the dream and allows the dream to become its own entity for others to enjoy. Get it?
Uh-huh. I mean, I don't need to be told it, honestly, but still, it doesn't help the...
I mean,
it's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time, but again, it could have been something better. It has actually a point, is what I'm trying to say. It's very pretentious about its point. It's very humble, braggy about it too.
The problem is that it's so far up its own ass that no one can see the point.
That's literally what I just said.
If I was to say that if this story could be rewritten, I think it should be just one chapter, maybe two at least.
I agree, it goes on for far too long. It circles around itself quite insistently, especially if you consider that it was all just a dream.
To the fix credit, some of the comedy worked.
Fuck civilization! I want violence! That bit.
Yeah, that bit.
And
Are there-
high-class gentleman Knuckles.
Are there any fix about the anti-freedom fighters?
I am afraid to say no, there aren't. But there are more fanfictions with void in it!
Well, Madhog, it's time to come out of your writing retirement and...
Matti, according to the metaphor, which is made quite literal here, the god of this world, that is to say the author, that is to say me, has left the dream world, that is to say the fanfiction and the fanfiction universe. That is to say, now it belongs to everyone else. That is to say, the readers. That is to say, you could take this and write your own canon with it. Your fanfiction of a fanfiction. That has happened. That has happened
Oh, yeah.
to me!
Yes, you've mentioned your recursive fanfiction.
Yes, a recursive fanfiction. I like that idea. I like that way of putting it.
I mean, it's an official term for writing fanfiction about fanfiction.
Yes, it's good. It's a very good term, actually. I think the most prolific recursive fanfiction or fanfictions that I have ever read were the Fallout Equestria fanfictions. That's a whole genre unto itself. Hundreds, if not thousands, of stories.
And somewhere over the rainbow... There's someone who has read them all.
Well, I've read some of them, but no, I have not read them all. There was a point in my life in which I was obsessed with Fallout Equestria. I am not proud to admit it, but I definitely have, and there was something alluring about that idea.
What's next on the chopping block?
I am so glad you asked, my friend!
Someone had to.
Did you really have to ask?
Because, as I mentioned and hinted and told you, straight up told you, many times before, we're not done yet with the spin-offs, and we're not done yet with the Tales saga as a whole. Because, you're going to love this. The next fanfiction on the chopping block after Il-Lumina-ted is Void into Dreams. And yes, it is exactly what it sounds like. And after that, there is A Jester's Dream, which is more of a return to form in that there is supposed to be an actual story there for a change. I know. And after that, we have the official sequel to Tales, because yes, I wrote a sequel, a actual proper sequel to Tales, to the Tales saga.
Yes,
It's
the unfinished sequel.
It's unfinished, but there is still quite a lot of material, and I still wrote most of it. So there is that, and I think it's worth taking a look at that, because there are some portions of it that are just oh so delicious.
Oh no.
Will they give actual fulfillment of any kind?
I think they will. I would count these Void spin-offs as a bit of a experimental phase of mine, in which I try to take what I established narratively and explore it, mostly for my own amusement. And I would say that thematically, Il-Lumina-ted should have been the end of it. Not only because it puts a little bow on Void's story. It's not a nice bow, but it is a bow. It is an ending. It's also the ending of a thematic journey that was started with the Void trilogy, in that we went from trying to make something out of nothing, that was the writer's block, to make nothing out of something, Void leaving the story quite literally, which is, as we said many times, a metaphor for me, the author, saying goodbye to the world of fiction, to the dream I left for you to peruse. But then I just kept on going, so never mind.
Yes, just looking at your biography, and
You mean bibliography?
I'm trying to find that where is the sequel to the Tales.
Oh, that's the best part. It doesn't have Tales in the title. You see, the official sequel is divided in several chapters, the first of which is titled Pater Familias.
There is Tales, and then there is Tales Saga Deluxe Edition.
That was when I tried to republish the story after it had some corrections, so to speak.
I can't see the Tales sequel. That's the beautiful part. You don't.
Oh, you will find it. It's written in the description. And the best part about the first episode of the sequel, which again is titled Pater Familias, I won't spoil why that's the case. It says here that it's technically a crossover between Super Smash Bros. And Sega Superstars.
And this time, it's a huge crossover!
Peripeteia Ubermensch.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about that. You see, guys, there is a lot still yet to unpack about my narrative legacy. Tales was just the beginning!
Yeah, like this Sonic the Hedgehog version of the Seven Samurai.
Oh, that is its own technically original story that has nothing to do with anything else.
So do we have that next time when we gather together or something else? Or?
Next time we will jump into Void into Dreams. That's the next step in the chronological order, so to speak. And when the time comes, we will get to the sequel. But that time is a bit farther away.
The Devar's final shot count was 14 shots of cider.
Thank you.
Make that 15, I would say, just because, just to round it off, just in case.
What the heck? Make it 20.
No, not 20, 15. No.
Okay. So, and with the mental image of a dominatrix precious stone firmly engraved into your mind, you're welcome, by the way, this is where we shall bid you adieu and li good night. I have been Madhog thy master.
I've been Devar Akbaron.
And I've been Icy Pal.
Don't you mean Devar drunk baron?
Yes.
Okay.
Tunnen sun sut unessa kerran kohtasin.
Okay, and these two are Icy Pal and Matimali, aka Hedonistic Actor. Thanks for joining us tonight. Now you can sing us off.
Tunnen sun sut unessa kerran kohtasin.
I am going to have such a fun time editing this. I know that. This is going to take me several months, weeks, days. This is going to be my nightmare for the next few days. Jeez. I hate this. I really hate this. They're still singing, guys. They're still singing.
Easier to edit if you edit
Ja taas uudestaan sua saan rakastaa.
Wow, still going. Oh, Discord was a bit iffy there. Okay. Everybody has left already, so I'm leaving too. Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye, everybody.
Fuck civilization!
Oh,